Good morning, students. In the previous class, we have discussed about the digestive glands. Within that, we have discussed about the salivary glands, liver, pancreas, gastric glands, and intestinal glands. Afterwards, we have discussed about the mechanism of digestion, that how the different types of nutrients they are broken down into simpler substances, and at last we have discussed about the end products of digestion. Now today we'll discuss about the topic absorption. We know the food is being completely digested within our small intestine. So absorption in terms of nutrition refers to the process by which the products of digestion or nutrients are taken from the lumen. Lumen means the internal cavity of alimentary canal into the blood and lymph through the epithelial cells. So in human beings, absorption takes place mainly in the intestine, though a few other substances are absorbed in the mouth and stomach through their mucosa also. So we have to discuss most significantly about the absorption part within the small intestine. Absorption in the small intestine is increased by due to two reasons. The first, the presence of villi. These finger-like projections I have shown here, these are called villi, which are on the inner surface of the wall of small intestine throughout its length. So this is the first way through which absorption can be maximized. Second way is the presence of microvilli on the free surface. These structures that would be called as microvilli, and these microvilli will increase the free surface area of the absorptive epithelium on the villi, which helps to increase the area of absorption. And the absorption across the membrane may be passive or active. So here you may observe the sectional view of villi in a small intestine. These are the finger-like projections called villi. Within that, blood network is present there with the help of arterioles and venules. And in between you may see that the structure that is lacteal is present, which helps in the proper absorption of the nutrients. So let us come to the look. The absorption refers to the process by which the products of digestion or nutrients are taken from the lumen of alimentary canal into the blood and lymph through the epithelial cells. In the human beings, absorption mainly takes place in the small intestine, and absorption across the membrane may be passive or active. So passive word, it means that the absorption it takes place along the concentration gradient, means from a region of its higher concentration to a region of its lower concentration, and that may take place through the process of simple diffusion, osmosis, or facilitated diffusion. We have discussed the part diffusion, osmosis in class 9, whereas the active transport involves means the transport it occurs against the concentration gradient, which means the substances they move from a region of lower concentration to a region of its higher concentration. So it is called as against the concentration gradient the substances are moving, so it is known as active transport. As we have discussed during the end products of digestion, carbohydrate is simply broken down into simpler form, that is glucose, whereas proteins they are broken down into amino acids and fats, they are broken down into fatty acids and glycerol. So the absorption of glucose, amino acids, they are easier as they are water soluble. The villi that can absorb it very much easily and readily. Whereas the absorption of these fatty acids, it is a quite different difficult task. So it involves some other mechanisms. That is, in the intestine, it is insoluble in water, so they cannot be directly absorbed in such form. So they are first incorporated into small spherical protein coated water soluble droplets called micelles. With the help of bile salts and phospholipids in the intestinal lumen, and then they are absorbed. It is from these micelles that fatty acids, glycerol, sterol, and fat soluble vitamins, they are example vitamins A, D, E, and K. They are absorbed into the intestinal cells. So as the absorption is being completed, the next part of the process of digestion that starts, that is assimilation. So assimilation, it refers to the process by which the absorbed nutrients are used by the cells in the following ways. They are oxidized to produce energy which are used for various functions of the cells. So might the glucose which has been formed as in product of the digestion of carbohydrates, the glucose, it would be oxidized to produce, to liberate energy which will help to carry out all the functions of the cells. Second, they are used for synthesizing various compounds which are needed as component parts of cells like proteins for protoplasm, cell membranes, lipids for membrane, etc. So the proteins which has been degraded into amino acids, those amino acids, it would form different parts of the cell. It will help in the repair of wear and tear of the cell, and they will help in the formation for the protoplasm for newer cells, as well as if the cell membrane ruptures, it will help there also, as well as also it helps in the formation of lipids for the membrane, that is cell membrane or plasma membrane. So in class 9 we have discussed about the process of membrane biogenesis. There do we have discussed that smooth endoplasmic reticulum, it synthesizes lipids, and rough endoplasmic reticulum, it synthesizes proteins. So both these components, they are essential for the repairing of the cell membrane or plasma membrane, because biologically the cell membrane is made up of lipids and proteins. So there do we have discussed that SER, which is smooth endoplasmic reticulum, and RER, rough endoplasmic reticulum, helps in the formation of membrane biogenesis. Third, compounds needed to catalyze metabolism, transport substances, or to protect from microbes are all synthesized from the absorbed nutrients. So whatever the different types of compounds, it would be required to catalyze the metabolism, to enhance the process of metabolic activities, as well as transport the different types of substances, or to protect from microbes, may the antibodies which are to be formed, they all would be formed by these absorbed nutrients. Fourth, certain nutrients are converted into those forms which can be stored for future use. Example, glucose is converted into glycogen. So the nutrients which has been absorbed by the small intestine, the blood will carry it, and it will also transform those nutrients into some complex forms for the purpose, for the future need of the body. So the glucose, it is converted into glycogen and is stored in the liver, cells and muscle cells. It is converted into fats also and stored in then adipocytes. Now we'll enter the last process, that is egestion. So this is the last step in the process of nutrition. The fecal matter is sent out of the alimentary canal through this process. So in this process, the undigested waste which is present within the alimentary canal is released to the environment according to the need of the body. One more thing we should know, that is about peristalsis. So the rhythmic contraction and relaxation of muscles present within the digestive system in order to push the food forward is called as peristaltic movements or peristalsis. It occurs all along the gut, that is alimentary canal. So the food that do we consume, it is sent to the next part of the digestive organs through a special type of muscular movement that do we call it as peristaltic movements or peristalsis. There, these organs, this alimentary canal is made up of smooth muscles and which shows this type of contraction and relaxation in a rhythmic way through which the food it travels down from one part to the next part of the digestive organs. Till so far here. In the next class, we'll discuss about the next important life process, which is respiration. Thank you. Have a nice day.